much of what's being taught in the humanities in college. Wrong history, wrong philosophy, but not just wrong, but not giving you tools to think. Because what historically, the humanities was a great training ground for thinking, for giving you a broad knowledge of the world. You know about history, you know about society, you know about human behavior, and the tools about how to think about it. But if the humanities don't believe in thinking anymore, or don't believe thinking is, rationality is a good thing, right? Or whatever, then you start questioning whether those degrees are worth really doing the filtering that you talked about. So, and I think the world is trying to come to grips with these things, figure that out. And you're seeing a restructuring in the education field. And you see these bubbles. I'll give you an example of law schools went through a bubble. And that's why law schools right now are shrinking all over the country. You're seeing law schools, it's one of the few universities where they're firing tenured professors in some places because they just don't have they're not admitting enough students because they can't find their graduates jobs. So law schools are actually shrinking. And that might happen elsewhere.
How bad will the economy get before it gets better?
Well, there's a false assumption there. You're assuming it gets better. No, people always tell me things will get so bad, everybody will wake up and they'll realize this is so bad. Where's the historical evidence that ever happens? Usually when things, talking about really bad, when things get really bad, what do people usually want? Some leader will tell them how to behave and what to do and how to, some authoritarian figure. Human history is full of examples of economies collapsing and authoritarianism on the rise. And I think I don't think America's ready for authoritarianism, but it's inching in that direction. The central government has more and more power. You saw it a little bit with Bush after 9/11. We were willing to treat him, as if he could do no wrong, And, with Obama, with the NSA, it's not just what they're doing, it's that we're not upset about it. It's like, okay, so they're listening to everything I say, who cares? You should care, you should care. It's none of anybody's business. They shouldn't be listening to you, right? I've always assumed it, so it didn't upset me that much because I always assumed they were listening to me. But that's because I'm a cynic. But I think the mentality of American is becoming more and more acceptable to authoritarianism, but we're still far away from reaching there. And also, good economic theory doesn't come to you because things are bad. Sometimes it does. You had the Thatcher, you had the 70s, and there was a real correction after the 70s. People got it, and you got Thatcher and Reagan come about, and there was a real global correction, and things got much better. But I don't see a Reagan or Thatcher out there, right? And I don't see the momentum building towards a real shift. We'll see. I hope I'm wrong, but we'll see. How much, the economy could get a lot worse. I think we're distorting the economy right now quite dramatically with what the Fed's doing. I think government spending is out of control. I think we haven't started feeling the truth. People talk about we're running $17 trillion deficits, but the real deficit is the unfunded liabilities of Medicare and Medicaid, Social Security. Medicare and Medicaid dominate that, Social Security is small. But the unfunded liability there, depending on who you read, is anywhere from $70 to $210 trillion. $200 trillion is by far more than the GDP of the entire world. And that's present value future liabilities, right? Net, right? So you either have to cut, you're going to have to dramatically cut healthcare costs in the future to people who retire, and the baby boom generation is going to get lousy healthcare as they get older, or something's going to have to give, or the economy's going to have to grow at 10% GDP growth, which is unheard of. So in the next 20 years, there's a reckoning, right? You're going to have to do something different to fix what's going on, and it's on your guys' back, right? It's young people's back, right? It's, if you're 75, times are good, right? You're getting the best healthcare in the world, and it costs you nothing. And for every dollar you put into Medicare, it makes you feel good because you put dollars in. They were spent a long time ago, but you put it in. For every dollar you put into Medicare, you'll spend $4. So that means your kids and grandkids need to be taxed at 4 times greater than what you were taxed to be able to afford your health care. Right? But there's still money, so they'll benefit from it. But it's the young people who, I mean, you guys should be unbelievably resentful. You should be, you know, in the 1960s, young people went into the streets, right? They rioted, they demonstrated, they occupied buildings on thing, and for, you know, they went overboard, but the cause was basically a good cause, a stupid war that we were fighting and a draft that forced them to go and die in some godforsaken part of the world that they had no interest in. And America, in my view, had no interest in it, should not, that was not a war America should have been fighting. And they went and they did something about it. You're in much worse shape. Much worse shape. I mean, you're inheriting an economy that is barely growing. You guys are going to have a very hard time finding jobs. When you get those jobs, real income growth is very moderate compared to past generations where income growth was dramatically increasing. And you are each, I can't remember the debt levels that you've each won just by being born have inherited from. And think about this, the greatest generation, the World War II generation, the baby boom generation, these 2 generations have left you with $200 trillion of debt. They don't work anymore. They've retired, they're living a good life, supposedly. You guys are going to have to pay off the $200 trillion. And you won't be able to. And your standard of living has to go down if you're paying off the debts of people who spent it in the past. So you should be out there in the streets demonstrating. You should be upset. You should be mad. Because this is worse than a draft. I mean, a draft is really bad. But this is worse than a draft. This is, you're basically being, you know, your future's being enslaved to paying off the debts of your parents and grandparents. Debts you didn't choose to take on. I'd be mad. But I'm at the tail end of the baby boomers. I'm going to benefit while it lasts.
So are you just saying enslaved by the taxes that we'll see?
Yeah. Well, either taxes go up, or you have inflation, or you just have slow economic growth. But no, the way you look at it, this debt has to be paid somehow, either through inflated dollars or through taxes. Either way, you're screwed. So if they make changes now, you can salvage everything somehow. 20 years from now, it becomes much more difficult. The longer you wait, the more difficult it becomes. So, and the more you'll have to pay off that boat. So you want change now. So instead of Occupy going into the streets, complaining about cronyism on Wall Street, no real problem, but still, what you should be occupying the streets is over entitlements, over the debt, over the lousy economy. And the economies could be fixed. I am arrogant, but I think it's easy. I think the economy of the U.S. could boom. All you have to do is a few basic things. You know, deregulate, lower corporate taxes, lower taxes, but mainly regulations. Get rid of all the burdensome regulations that are placed on business. And business would start investing and you'd see a boom in this economy. This is not hard. And this is what Reagan did, right? This is what Thatcher did. We've got history on our side. This is not hard stuff. But we're doing the opposite. And the whole world is doing, at least Europe, the whole Western world is doing the opposite. Somebody who hasn't asked. Yeah.
Dr. Brook, you've described 2 moral systems. There's sort of the one of darkness, where there's shame, there's not being alive, there's not being proud of your achievement, and so on. And there's light, where you are proud of your life and you're pursuing your self-interest next to it. Societally, how do we get from one to the other? Short of everybody buying Atlas Shrugged or some other
education. It's all about education.
How do you think change can happen?
There are no quick fixes. There's no magic bullet. This is an age-old battle. This is not new. There's a new book out, but it really is a theme that Ayn Rand talked about and then Leonard Peikoff talked about. We basically, there's a battle going on in the world right now between 2 philosophers, and there's always been this battle going on between the same 2 philosophers since they wrote, and that's Plato and Aristotle. And we keep alternating, and we get the good stuff when Aristotle wins, and we get the bad stuff when Plato wins. What's the name? Anybody know what the name of the book that's out right now? Cave in the Light. The Cave in the Light. That's right. The cave is Plato. The light is Aristotle. Now, I think, I haven't read the book, which is based on the reviews that I've read. I think I'm going to disagree on a lot of what he concludes, but the fact that he's setting up all of history as this battle between these two guys is pretty amazing. And again, a theme that Ayn Rand talked about years and years ago. But it's this real struggle of ideas, and there's no easy way to bridge that gap. It's about education, education, education. It's about ideas, and it's about changing people's minds. And the only way to change people's minds, I mean, we believe in reason. The only way to change people's minds is through reason. You know, the earlier you start, the younger the kids are, the better. So, you know, but that's why this is a very long-term struggle. It's not easy.
I was going to that it seems, insurmountable because what you just said is about education. And I have like 2 little kids, you know, and I worry about their future.
Yeah.
And I look at, we homeschooled one for a while until I got too much, but the problem also is with public school education, and they have their own agenda.
Sure.
From the government. Now that they're trying to do the Common Core across the whole country and basically force everyone to be average and basically put out resources for average and never focus on the exceptional and help those exceptional people to win, because the thinking is, well, we need to help the people who are down here, but the thing is the exceptionals are the ones who are going to solve the problems and help everybody and bring everybody else up.
Yes.
And so I guess I'm scared, not scared, but I see the education answer as not going to happen with public school.
So now you got me depressed. What do you want? No, look, you're absolutely right. This is a lot of work, and you got to start in public schools. So there are good things happening. There's an objectivist who owns some schools and is going national with his schools. And they're opening up branches all over the country, hopefully. They're opening up their first branch in San Francisco and one in New York next year. And they've got 5 schools in Orange County in Southern California, and they want to have 100 schools one day. So those are the kind of things that need to be happening. People need to be starting schools. People need to be investing in those kind of ventures, because you have to start young. And look, everybody's against us. This is why you should be giving huge amounts of money to the Diamond Institute, because it's an enormous battle, and everybody's against us. And you know, we're talking about how much the schools get, how much the universities get. We're talking about trillions and trillions of dollars, and we have a few million to play with. We're way outnumbered and outgunned and outspent. And you know, they don't. But again, I wish I had a shortcut. If I had a shortcut, I would have done it already. But there's nothing. I mean, it's up to you guys, particularly if you're young. You need to fight for your life. Go out into the streets. You know, start speaking up. Start arguing for your life. It's not about, it's your right to pursue happiness. It's been taken away from you. You don't have a right to pursue happiness anymore in this country. You have a right to pay off your parents' debt. Talk about the morality of altruism. They expect you to sacrifice your life for your parents and grandparents. Now that's evil. That's out and out evil, and you should speak up, and you should argue against it, and you should talk about it, and you need to make your voices heard. And that's the only way anything changes, is people rise up and they challenge it. Go become professors and teach the opposite. You know, that's it. It's a generational, it's going to take a generation or 2 or 3 to change the world. But you gotta fight now, and we might fail. And we're like, you know, if you ask me what the odds are, that the economy collapses, and they're much bigger than 50%. That we don't succeed in winning, within the next few decades. In the next 50 years, will we have will we turn the tide? I don't know, 10%, 20%. But even if it's only 10%, what do? Just give up and pretend you're dead? You got to keep fighting. Thank you all.
I want to thank everyone for coming. Like I said at the beginning, if you found any of the ideas you heard tonight interesting, we have an email list in the back that you can send posting out information about our meetings.
Join the Objectivist Club, it's good.
And also, if you'd like to make a donation to the UT Objectivist Society, just come see me. That's the kind of stuff that helps us put on events like this. So, thank you for coming.
And if there's anybody left from the MPA Council who hasn't signed in, make sure you sign in so you get your points for the day. Thanks for coming. You have a job.